Welcome to EPG Pathshala program. I am Professor Ajmer Singh Malik, paper coordinator for first paper of EPG Pathshala Public Administration program, Public Administration and Introduction. Today, dear friends, we will deliberate on the topic Public Administration, Meaning, Nature, Scope and Significance. The lecture on this topic will help you to understand what is administration, what is public administration, and the scope, nature, scope and significance of the public administration in our society, both as an activity of the government as well as an academic discipline. So let's start with the very simple statement that every society aspires an organized and well-ordered life, and therefore there is always a need for establishing a suitable system and a mechanism that leads to the emergence of the activity of public administration. The system and process of public administration, no doubt, has changed over the years, or it has grown as the civilization has grown, and naturally keeping in view the contemporary needs of the society. But as I stated earlier, it is the Woodrow Wilson's articles, which was published in 1887, that is considered as the beginning of the modern day public administration discipline. The public administration as an academic discipline as is concerned with, which is not considered as private or the personal by the people of a particular culture at a particular point of time, especially in a particular political setting. And the public administration as a discipline is a systematic study of all those affairs, as I stated earlier, which is not public, which is not private, which is not personal, and considered to be a public affair by the people of that society. Therefore, with this introduction, with this background, we will try to discuss the meaning of the public administration. Rather, first we will discuss the meaning of the administration. In real sense, public administration is only one dimension of the generic term administration. The English word administer in actual derived from the combination of two Latin words, ad plus ministere, which means to serve, to govern, to run, to oversee, to manage affairs. Hence, administration is defined as a cooperative human effort towards achieving some goals, some common goals, rather we say some common goals. In simple words, we can say that administration is a group activity, is a cooperative effort, and it is for a certain specified goals, means in a systematic manner. Dwight Waldo calls it a type of cooperative effort that has a high degree of rationality. It is an endeavor to maximize one's goal or achievement by rationally relating means to ends. This is by Dwight Waldo, a great scholar of public administration. Another great scholar, Ian Gladden, he defined administration as a determined action taken in pursuit of common purpose. Obviously, the common purpose is to care for or to look after people or to manage affairs. Administration is common to all kinds of non-organization in this world. The people, their actions and interactions are the three components associated with this term administration. The term administration has been defined by the different scholars in a different ways. But the three components which I stated earlier, these are common to all definitions. The important scholars or the well-known scholars in the field who defined administration, Gladen, Pfiffner, Negro, Beckley, F.M. Marx, Gulick, L.D. White, and Herbert Simon. Herbert Simon states, administration is the activities of groups cooperating to accomplish common goals. So this is about the administration, and this is, as I stated, it is a generic term, and public administration is only a species of it or one dimension of it. Then the question arises, what is public administration? What is the meaning of the public administration? Public administration is a term used for specific type of administration, naturally to carry out certain activity in a certain specific institutional setting. When we talk about the institutional setting, we take it as a political institutional setting, and usually it is taken as distinct from the private administration. So the public administration, we can say in a very specific sense, the public administration operates in certain specific ecological conditions or ecological settings, and normally it is relating to carry out the policy decision of the state. The focus of public administration is on public bureaucracy and the public policies, and therefore it acquires a formal status to mean the government administration or the government in action. Millet states, public administration is a vital part of the whole process of government, the part which provides the machinery whereby political decision bring about every actions. In simple sense, we can say public administration is a part of the whole of the government, and it is carried out by an administrative machinery which is established for this purpose, and this administrative machinery carries out those decisions in public administration which are taken by the political setup of the government. And that's why it is considered, in a narrow sense at least, that it is a part of the public administration. Encyclopedia Britannica, it defines the public administration as the application of a policy of a state through its government. Means the decision taken by the polity of a nation, those are carried out by the government, and it is public administration. Thus, it is a part of the administration which performs the administrative activities of the government. So, what is public in public administration? It has to be understood to understand the real meaning of the public administration. Nicholas Henry, he has identified three dimensions, namely agency, interest, and access. These are the three, three dimensions which are considered components of the public. For differentiating publicness from the privateness, he believes that the term public in public administration means a government agency entrusted with the social responsibility, and these public agencies are outrageously accessible to the people at large. But these are in no way mutually exclusive, rather mutually reinforcing one. It means that these agencies are not separate one. All the three dimensions, that is the agencies, interest, and access, those are reinforcing each other, and naturally if the participation of the people or the access of the people in an administration is larger, profusely larger, in that circumstances we can say it is publicness. Otherwise, if it is limited to certain people or certain individual, it is considered as the private one. The definition of public administrations given by different scholars have been grouped into two classes or two categories. The first group consists of those scholars or those definitions which are traditional or which are narrow in its scope. The second group consists of those scholars, or second group of definitions are of those scholars which are wider in sense and we say the modern in their sense. The first group of definition, those are the traditional and narrow definitions of the public administration. First of all, let's take the definition of Woodrow Wilson, who states public administration is a detailed and systematic execution of law. Every particular application of law is an act of administration. He also states administration is most obvious part of the government. It is government in action. It is the executive, the operative, the most visible side of the government. This is narrow in the sense the definition is restricted only to the executive branch of the government. The second important thing is it is considered only the implementation part of that is the execution part of the administration, that when we implement the policies, the formulation of policies and other things, those are not part of it. And that's why this is considered as a traditional definition and a narrow in its scope. Similarly, there is another scholar of this group, that is Herbert A. Simon, D.W. Smithberg, V.A. Thompson, who consider that the executive which performs the functions of the public administration, that may be at the national level, that may be at the state level, and that may be at the local level, that constitutes the public administration. Again, meaning that the executive branch of the government. Similarly, these definitions, as I stated earlier, that they don't include the legislative affairs of the state. These definitions again are not including the judicial activities of the state in its scope, and that's why we term these definitions as the narrow definitions and the traditional definition. The scholars who supported this view, that is Percy McQueen, J.S. Hodgson, Luther Gulick, F.M. Marx, Willoughby, and Harris, Ian Gladden, Davis, L.D. White, who consider that public administration consists of all those operations having for their purpose the fulfillment and enforcement of public policy, which means that again it's the implementation of the public policy is under the domain of the public administration. Dwight Waldo, again, who is the supporter of this kind of the meaning of the public administration, he said that public administration is art and science of management as applied to the affairs of the state. Means that is this is a part of it means that this is the narrow meaning of the public administration. Here again, I would like to point out that certain non-governmental organizations that has also emerged, particularly after 1960s in the world. Those are also not considered as a part of public administration according to this narrow viewpoint or narrow definitions of the public administration. Now, we take the modern definitions, that is the second group or second category of the scholars who define public administration in a wider sense, and those are modern in their thinking about the public administration. Let's take the definition of democ and democ. They state, like the study of politics, the study of public administration is the study of what people want through government and how they go about getting it. This is a very wide definition, giving a very wide meaning to the public administration. Means all those public affairs, I am reminding you, which is not considered private, which is not considered as personal, and in a particular cultural setting at a particular point of time, that constitutes the scope of public administration. Means there is no end to the activities of the public administration, rather all kinds of the public affair activities, including judicial, including legislative, including the policy decision, or everything which is relating to the aspirations of the people, that constitutes the public administration. And according to this viewpoint, public administration is much concerned what government does and how it does. This is an important thing, means all the methods and the procedures of the management in the government, that constitutes a part of the public administration. Therefore, it is a very wide, the public administration is a wide area of study and practice where law and policy recommended are carried out. Means there are many scholars who spotted this view. J.W. Fessler, he spotted this view, and according to him, public administration is a policy execution, policy formulation. It's concerned with the policy execution and the policy formulation. But it is concerned with the public bureaucracy, it is considered with the public. Means again a wide range of activities that's relating to the human life and the civilization, that constitute the public administration. Nicholas Henry, Rosenblum, Negro and Negro, all are in this group of people, group of scholars who defined public administration in a very, very wider sense. Negro and Negro summarize the public administration as: number one, it is a cooperative group effort in a public setting. Number two, it covers all three branches of the state, that is executive, legislative and judiciary, and their interactions. Number three, it has an important role in the formulation of policy and thus a part of the political process. Number four, it is different in a significant way from private administration, and I am reminding you that is Nicholas Henry, that he stated that it is we say agency, it is interest, it is the access which makes it distinct from the private administration. Lastly, public administration is closely associated with numerous private groups and individuals in promoting the services to the community. You understand, nowadays, particularly after economic liberalization and privatization and globalizations, we are contracting out many services to the private agencies which can perform in more efficient and effective manner. That is also considered a part of the public administration. After discussing the meaning of the public administration, now we come to the three remaining component of this lecture, that's nature, scope and significance of public administration. We will take it in a very brief manner. You have to go through the text for updating yourself and for understanding in a complete sense. So first of all, let's discuss about the nature of public administration. Normally, the nature of a discipline is determined on the basis of its properties and its characteristics. In other words, properties of issues. I am repeating it. In other words, the properties of issues in domain in a discipline determine the nature of that particular discipline, and so is with the public administration. The public administration is, as we discussed, is a discipline concerned with the activities and functions of the government, and its domain is quite diverse and divergent one, as we discussed particularly under the definitions of the wider definitions of the public administration. Naturally, keeping in view the various facets of the process of the public administration or the domain of the public administration, the scholar tried to understand the nature of public administration like the meaning of the public administration under two categories, or we say, although it's not dependent on the traditional and narrow sense, but it depends on certain other things. And we will discuss, we'll try to find out that there are two schools, there are two views regarding the nature of the public administration, and those views are: number one, the first one is the integral view, or we call it integral school of public administration. What is this integral school of public administration? According to this school, or according to this view, every activity performed in an organization, maybe it is manual, maybe it is clerical, maybe it is managerial, means from a person working at the lowest level of the hierarchy up to the top level, everyone is performing, every function, every activity constitutes the public administration. This is the integral school of public administration. It means that all activities performed by the lowest level of functionary up to the head or the chief executive are all acts of administration, and if it is public administration, all acts of public administration. Many scholars like Woodrow Wilson, L. D. White, Marshall E. DeMock, Pfiffner, Percy McQueen, etc., they are the advocate of this school. So, not going in that detail, only telling the essence of the integrated school of public administration, the second school, which we call it the managerial view or the managerial school of public administration. Luther Gulick, Merson, Simon, Fayol are the supporters of this view. The scholars who is supporting the managerial school of public administration consider all such activities which are performed by the executive branch of the government and involves the organizational and managerial activities only, that is the public administration. In a simple, then naturally the managerial activities which are relating to the planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating and controlling, those constitute the public administration, and the manual, clerical and technical and non-managerial functions of the organizations are not part of the public administration, whereas the modern comprehensive view. In real sense, we say there have been tremendous changes in the domain of public administration and in the nature of public administration over the years or with the growth of the civilization. The role of the government has changed over the years. It has been changing, it is not static, and therefore the nature of public administration now cannot be defined as on the basis of the earlier views, and that is integral or the managerial view. And we say the definition of the Negro have elaborated it to you in this lecture, that's consisted of all those 4 activities, that gives a comprehensive view of public administration, means it provides a wide ranging activities of public administration, and whether it is managerial or the integral view, it does not depend on that. It depends upon the contents or the services or the cooperative efforts or the public affairs. So it depends on so many things. The nature of the public administration depends on that. Now, let's take the scope of public administration. What constitutes the public administration? What is there in the domain of the public administration? Normally, it has become a customary that we discuss the scope of public administration under two headings. One, as a state activity, and the second, as an academic discipline. The first of all, we take when public administration is considered as a state activity or a governmental activity, whatever you call it. As a state activity, ours or most of the nations nowadays, it's a democratic state. And in a democratic states, there are certain ethics and values of those democratic states. In order to ensure democracy, all those operations or those activities which is relating to that, that's a part of, that's under the domain of the public administration. In other words, you can say the state in actions and interactions that constitute the domain of the public administration. Every kind of action and interactions with anything, it tries to ensure or tries to regulate the public life. As we stated in the meaning of the administration, and at the outset we discussed, what is not private, what is not personal, in a particular cultural setting, at a particular point of time, that needs to be regulated. But nowadays, we are passing through the technological age. And in such a circumstances, if we give an example from India, that National Population Register or Aadhaar cards, we are trying even to peep into the privacy of the individuals. And it is almost very, very difficult for managing the affairs of the state if we are not regulating the public life. There are so many social tensions, so many problems, so many things associated with the public life that needs to be regulated. And not only regulated on the basis of certain rationality, on the basis of certain public interest, on the basis of the values set forth by the democratic system of the governance and as per the aspirations of the people. That's there. Now, as a discipline of public administration, what constitutes domain of public administration as a discipline? Normally, when we are considering this domain as an academic discipline, every issue, every institution, and every process which is concerned with the public affairs, defined in the sense we discussed as an activity of the public administration, that constitute the area of study, that constitute the domain of public administration as an academic discipline. We are trying to deliberate the things nowadays. We are trying to make the governance, good governance, citizen-centric governance, efficient governance, economic governance based on economy, and an effective one. And naturally, it is concerned with certain, we say, scholastic kind of or intellectual kind of the subject area, how to make the state activity more citizen-centric, more people-oriented, or which can contribute to the qualitative life of the citizens, that parts, that's relating to that aspect. That's a wider view, or the, we say, the modern view of the scope as a part of that one. Although, if we don't discuss the earlier scholars who tried to confine the scope of public administration as an academic discipline to certain activities, if we don't discuss that, then it will be an incomplete talk on this topic. That's why I'm referring to Henry Fayol, who said that all those things which are concerned with planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling, those are the managerial activities. We discussed it earlier. That at all issues, all institution and process relating to these, that constitute the domain of public administration as an academic discipline. Then Luther Gulick also elaborated all these things, and post-core view, all you know, post-core of different kind of the activities which are common to all organizations. That's planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, and budgeting. That's no doubt the old one. But this is the post-core view as the domain of public administration, or the narrower view. Means Fayol and Luther Gulick, they advocate the narrow view of public administration, and in that case, that activities relating to all this managerial function, as Fayol stated, and we say that planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting, as Gulick stated, the issues relating to all these things which are common to all kinds of the organizations, those are the contents or the components of the study of public administration, or we say under the domain of the public administration as an academic discipline. But there is another viewpoint in this case, that is the subject matter view. And according to this subject matter view, this is what they say, that post-core is not restricted. The contents of the public administration cannot be restricted to the post-core view, because as we can cite an example, the functions in a defense department may not be similar. The functions of a elementary education department, the subject matter is a different one. No doubt, all those activities which are defined by the post-core, those may be similar, but the subject matter is different. And that's why the contents or the components of the public administration, those will be beyond the post-core of activities. We have to understand the subject of a particular nature so as to deliver the services, so as to perform the functions of the public administration in a we can say perform the role of public administration in a better manner. Instead, we take the consideration of the narrow view. Means without understanding the subjects, we cannot improve our performance, we cannot improve the performance of the public administration. So although there is a detailed discussion on this issue, but we have to restrict it with this one, that the subject matter has to be understood, and when subject matter is to be understood, the domain of the public administration cannot be restricted as per the post-core view. And for better understanding, it is very, very important to take all the subjects relating to the administration or relating to the public administration. Complete understanding of that that subject is necessary, and that's why the contents of the public administration are much greater than we expect than we expect in a traditional view of public administration. So this is, and now we come to the last part of our lecture, that's the significance of the public administration or the importance of public administration. Charles E. Beard, a scholar, I'm quoting that scholar, quote, "Administration is a science of contemporary civilization. It is both a subject of study and also an activity of the modern state." When we say administration is a science of contemporary civilization, means whatever we know in the civilizations, that depends on the performance of the administrations, or vice versa. I'm quoting C. Merriam. Administration is evolution of another human technology leading to man's adoption to his complex environment. This is again a very wider definition, and wide in the sense that man is coping with the environment, how to adjust and how to adapt itself to the environment by means of science and technology, by means of other things. But administration also contributing as much as the other sciences are contributing towards it. And it is also reminding us, Wilson believes, that increasing complexity of the society have been responsible for growing functions of the state. As we are moving towards modernization, our needs and aspirations are increasing, our necessities are becoming manifolds, and in such a situation, it is the administration who have to deliver each and every kind of the services, who has to fulfill each and every kind of the fulfills, who have to cater each and every needs of the individuals or the citizens. So this is how we are reminding the Wilson's belief that increasing complexities of society have been responsible for growing functions of the state. And naturally, we have to find out the ways and means how to make the government successful one, so that it can achieve the objectives for which it has been established. Normally, we take into consideration some important areas or important points for considering the importance of the public administration. The first of all, the public administration provides basis of the government. Means the government can be operative in the absence of the legislative and judicial system, but it cannot be operative without the executive branch or without the public administration. Means, suppose if the electricity fails, who will restore it? If the judiciary is not there for a day, or the legislature is not enacting a law for a day, there may not be any problem. But if the government is not there, who will attending the day-to-day life activities, who have to implement the policies, that depends on the government. So in many ways, when we say that public administration is the basis of the government, it means the sustenance of the life that depends upon the delivery of services or on the activities of the states which are performed day by day basis. The second important thing is the public administration is considered as a tool for delivering the services, as we discussed earlier. No doubt, there are many private agencies also, public-private partnership is also there, but there are certain basic services which are essentially to be provided by the state itself. I am not saying that the services which are provided by non-governmental organizations or the private organization or under any arrangement, those are not part of the public administration, but I am saying that public administration is a tool through which delivery of services to the people is possible, and without delivery of those services to the people, it may not be possible to survive the life. So that's an important one. And I will say, I'm expressing the Negro's belief, who stated that the real core of administration is the basic service performed for the public. Third important aspect of relating to the importance of public administration is that it is considered as an instrument for implementing the policies. Naturally, when we call implementation of policies, we mean that it's relating to formulation, adoption, and implementation. Formulation may be having more political content. Adoption is also having some political content, but implementation is not that much of political content, although particularly in developing countries, there may be some sort of political content at the time of implementations also. So that's it. But it is possible only through the public administration or the different agencies created for that purpose. No doubt. The development activities have been prioritized and left to the individual initiatives, particularly after the reforms. But it does not mean that public administration or the state is absolved from that responsibility, that is to develop its country. As for example, in our country also, that the required infrastructures and the policy frameworks, even if it is of indicative kind, that has to be provided by the public administration. There is one next importance which is very obvious one and which is visible to all. The public administration acts as an instrument of social change. When we are talking about the social change, means we are talking about the social transformation, and that is only through not through the private initiative, not through the contracting out, that is purely by the public administrative agencies, those are performing it. And lastly, it has certain technical character, that it is a professional one based on certain principle, neutral, it provides many kinds of equality, equity, inclusions, all that kind of the things. Naturally, the technical input required for for performing different functions, those are also part of it, and that's why this public administration has some sort of technical character, and it is bringing the requisite change in itself as well as in the society. So now it is time to summarize the lecture, and I would like to say that public administration is a discipline which is still growing. Moreover, the boundary of the discipline is expanding with the changes in the society. As Wilson stated that the complexities will increase, the nature or complexity will increase the responsibility of the state or the government, and that has been happening because we people, as we are developing and the social and economic change is there in the society, our needs, our aspirations, that's also increasing, and in such a circumstances it is but natural that discipline is also changing and or discipline is also growing. The question is, what we need today? We need a systematic study of public administration so that we can provide an intellectual base. We can provide an intellectual base to the people who are responsible for performing the different kind of activities of the public administration. Thank you very much.